everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Move Austin. My name is Chris Angel. I'm your co-host. I'm here with
Theresa Bastian.
Who's your host. And
I think I better when you say my name, Chris.
All right. And we're here with Theresa Bastian, your host of Let's Move Austin.
Oh.
Okay. We're just like we're still finding our chemistry, I think. Like the no look past the it's all good.
You seem peppier than me usually, so I like you to do the walk-in.
I do like to do the if I had a smoke machine maybe and some indoor fire pyrotechnics, maybe it'd be
maybe like a bubble machine.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you hear I have a colleague in the back going, yeah.
I thought you could just throw your voice. I was wondering where that was coming from.
I'm not that husky.
I think Russ should just show a hand. If Russ is oh my God, there's a hand coming out of the screen. Yes, awesome. Guest appearance by Russ.
We are in the office during business hours, so everybody gets to learn about our topic this week.
I love it. Well, today, so on the heels of our last episode, we're talking about short sales. I'd like to know what a short sale is and how many are on the market, et cetera. So, Theresa, give me the 101 on short sales.
Well, I could do an hour on short sales probably, but I'm going to try to tailor it, keep it simple. So if I go too in depth, reel me in, okay, Chris?
All right.
A short sale, quite simply, is where you own a property and you owe more on it than it can be sold for.
Got it. Okay.
In today's market.
Yep.
Now, you can live in your home under those circumstances as long as you want. But if you need to sell your house for some reason,
right? How
do you sell a house for $300 when you owe $340?
Right.
Assuming you don't have the extra money in the bank to make up the difference.
Right.
That amount that's short between what you owe and what it's worth.
Yeah.
That's why it's called a short sale.
You're selling it short of.
You're selling it short
of what you owe.
What your mortgage amount is.
Got it. Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Common misconception is short has something to do with the time period that it takes to sell. That is absolutely wrong, right?
We actually call that a long sale.
You're laughing because you know.
Yeah. Right.
Short sales do typically take longer than a regular sale, but that's neither here nor there right now. Just for definition purposes, short sale means you owe more than the home is worth in today's market and you don't have the money to make up the difference.
What are typically the circumstances in which somebody would sell their house short?
Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, it's a long list of really crummy situations that practically anyone can fall into.
Sure.
The top reasons I see these days in our current, hot market in Austin would be, let's say it's a divorce.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say I have one right now that comes to mind. Couples owned the home 18 years.
Wow.
So you'd think they have plenty of equity.
Right.
It's in an area of town that values have been rising. Mm-hmm. But 2 years ago, they took out a substantial amount and refinanced the house. And they did some repairs to the house, so that's helpful. But they did a lot of other things with the cash. And now they're divorcing. And they don't, the numbers don't work now.
Right.
So it's going to have to be a short sale.
Right.
Another reason can be, let's say you purchased your house with great intentions that things were going to get better for you.
Yeah.
So you bought it with a very high rate interest loan.
Sure. And
quickly, like I'm talking 13 to 16 months later, things are not getting better for you. And you're missing payments that you just can't get ahead. And then let's say you lose a job.
Yeah.
Even though that number might be fairly small, it's still a short sale and you don't have enough money to make up the gap. Because remember, when you sell a house, there are other fees too.
Right.
Typically, you have to pay a buyer's agent, you have to pay a listing agent, you have to pay title insurance and a whole, couple percentage points of fees.
Yeah.
And then you have to move and put a deposit down on your rental. It can be a real financial hardship if people literally don't have cash in the bank. And that can happen because, a parent got sick in another state or a kid went to jail and you spent your money on a lawyer. It could be any reason. None of them great. None of them we expect to have happen, but they happen.
Can anybody just decide to sell it short, or is there some person with a magic wand that says, we allow you and we won't allow you to sell short?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, let's say I bought a house and 3 months later, I want to, I met someone fantastic and I'm going to go to the Greek Isles and screw this. I just want to dump my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bank is not going to allow that to be a short sale.
Right.
Because the bank has a say in a short sale, right? The bank is going to approve taking less than you owe on your mortgage.
Right.
If you can get the bank to approve this.
Right.
You have to work with an agent, or you can do it yourself. Most people do not do it successfully themselves.
Sure. Yeah.
I recommend working with someone who's very experienced working with banks, but you have to present a case for why this bank should grant you mercy. A short sale. Got it. And usually that means there's some kind of hardship that can be documented, not just I fell in love and want to go to Greece.
Right. Got it. Okay. And that's probably way beyond the scope of this episode, right?
But I think it goes to the new, there are a lot of nuances though. So maybe we don't cover them all today, but you really can be very unsuccessful if you try to go up against a bank by yourself or with an agent that has never done this before. Yeah. I think, for me, the takeaway on that is just like, talk to Theresa, talk to somebody who's had experience with banks so that you can figure out what your options are. Well, and not to brag, but that's kind of what this is for in a way. Right. In Austin, they were not hit as hard here by the mortgage meltdown and the economic downturn as other parts of the country. Go Austin. Unfortunately, I was in one of those other parts of the country that was hit extremely hard. So I had to learn how to deal with short sales very quickly and teach my entire office how to deal with them. And if it weren't for knowing how to work short sales, we would have all been out of business and the lights would have been turned off. So I am extremely knowledgeable on short sales, probably more than I would say 90% of the agents in Austin, and that's being generous because I haven't pulled them, but I just know there was never a critical density of that many short sales here. And so many agents in Austin have become realtors after. They only know the good times. Right. So I do know this, and it's not easy. It's very, very difficult. Yeah, absolutely. But I feel very passionate that if someone is in a financial hardship situation, it's my obligation as a human to use my skill to help them. Yeah. So good. So if you're a homeowner and you're thinking like, I have these different life circumstances happening. Do I need to sell short? What do I need to do? I think the first place to start is just a conversation with Theresa. Just the first time you think, I'm not sure how I'm going to make my mortgage payment, or if something doesn't turn around, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's when we should talk. And it's very discreet. I'm not judgmental, but you need to put a plan together before you've missed 6 payments or whatnot. And the thing is, Chris, that's good. Human nature being what it is, nobody wants to miss payments. Nobody signs up for, purchases and then intentionally can't make the payments. So people tend to put their heads in the sand and ignore the mail and ignore the phone calls. And I've been there. Okay. I've been there years ago, but I remember it well. Yeah. So because people put their heads in the sand, they don't think about solutions. So I'm kind of talking to probably people that might have a friend in this situation. Yeah. Because the people that really need this information are no longer listening to information. Yeah. That's right. That's good. I also think, in addition to the head in the sand thing, part of it is just embarrassment. Like, I don't want to actually share with people what's happening, but I think, like you said, you don't want to wait until you're 6 payments behind or way behind the game here. Well, let's talk about that. Let devil's advocate. Okay. So we can educate. If you know you're not able to make your payments and you know you're going to lose that house eventually, why go through all the hassle to hire Theresa and do a short sale? Right. Why not just stick your head in the sand until they absolutely come and tell you you've got 30 days to leave? Right. Right. Yeah, people did that. Really good reasons. Yeah. Yep. So, for example, if you sell short, it is a very much smaller impact on your credit than a foreclosure. Got it. And it comes off your credit faster. So let's say in a couple years, things turn around. You can be qualified to buy another house. Foreclosure is 7 years. Yeah. Oh. And I myself have been through divorce and thought I would never be a homeowner again. And it took less than 2 years. Wow. If I had gone through foreclosure, it would be 7. Wow. How frustrating would that have been? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So people need to realize there is a long-term impact to foreclosure that's much harsher than short sale. Yeah, that's good. Another thing is people don't think about short sale can impact your security clearance. If you're in the military, if you have certain government jobs, if you are a cashier at Walmart,
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Did not know
Mhm.
that.
So this thing that you're putting your head in the sand about, thinking
Mm.
it'll just go away, or eventually you'll just scoot into an apartment and you'll try to get better, it could have such a long-lasting impact on you
Mm.
that it doesn't make sense to play Russian roulette with this.
Right. Yeah. That's scary. Wow.
So big
Wow.
fan of short sales when they're necessary. Do not put your head in the sand.
Yeah. Yeah. So pass this on to a friend who may need
Right. Yeah, because
to hear
the
this.
people that really need to listen are avoiding
Yeah.
all the information. It's just too much for them. And I understand that emotionally. I worked with a couple that we did a short sale of their condo last year, as a matter of fact. And true to form, they were referred to me by the woman's sister who lives in my neighborhood, and we have kids at the same schools.
Hmm.
And she knew I would be able to offer advice and hopefully help them. And I was, yay.
Yay. Of course.
Yeah. And
So
they were
good.
super sad to leave their condo. They had been the only owners there since it was built. They had some pets that were real attached to it. Their pets were like their babies.
Right.
But we were able to not only get the bank to agree to the short sale and get it done,
Mm-hmm.
but we were able to find them a place not far from the condo that they could rent that was in their budget, which was a lower payment than their mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
and that their pets are happy in. And they've been there
good.
2 years. It's going on. They just signed their lease renewal. So I guess it was, going on 2 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can have a happy ending.
I love that. Let's shift gears. I want to talk about buyers for a minute, because we've been talking about homeowners. So now if I'm wanting to buy a house, and I'm trying to search for where are all the short sales? I'm trying to find them in Zillow or whatever. Like, Theresa, how many short sales are on the market right now? Because I want to go buy one.
Well, first of all, there's a fun thing here in Austin. Our MLS, which is our search database that realtors use, that has the very best accurate data. We don't have a category for short sales.
Really?
We have a category for foreclosures, but not for short sales.
Huh.
Now, there aren't very many short sales. So number one, that might be why there's not a category. But literally, let's say someone is just like, I just want a short sale, which I don't know why they would say that, because we'll get to the buyer problems in a minute. Yeah. But there's no way to search just short sales. So I would have to go by price range or by area of town or by school and like literally go one by one and see if there's a short sale. Mm-hmm. But the real answer to your question is there is no reason to do that. Right. Because in a market where there aren't many short sales and there are other options, right, a buyer would do better to avoid short sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Short sales are messy. Like there's the whole, like, what typically takes maybe 30 to 45 days to close on a real estate transaction. A short sale could be 60, 90. And then maybe they decide they're not going to sell it to you. Like, there's a lot of gameplay.
It could be 6 months.
Yeah.
And you don't know up ahead of time that it's going to be 6 months, right, because you're at the mercy of that bank. And that bank is not like, let's say Wells Fargo owns the mortgage. Yeah. Well, it's not the Wells Fargo on the corner. You can go, knock and talk to someone and kind of plead your case. Yeah. It's Wells Fargo corporate somewhere, 800 numbers, passcodes, people never answering, people switching the file. There's no real ability to persuade a bank to do what you need them to do for your client. Yeah. So if you're a buyer and you hire me to represent you, choosing a short sale does not allow me to do my best work.
Yeah. No, for real. That's such a nightmare. There was a time like when the market tanked and there were a lot of houses that were short sales. And in fact, a lot of the options you had to choose from were short sales. So you just kind of you pick the house that works best for you. And then you hope that the bank, you just be patient for however long it takes until the bank sort of waves their magic wand to grant you the house. But
right. But in a market where you don't have to do that to have options, why would you choose to do that? Yeah, it's just, if you're a masochist, like a real estate masochist.
Right. Yeah. That's what that's great.
Sellers, if you need a short sale, you should. But buyers,
right?
I would recommend moving on. So my advice, I guess, is tailored to which party I'm talking to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, a short sale is appropriate for homeowners who need it. I suppose a buyer, if it was the right house, it would be appropriate for. Look, the reality is, if you listed a house that was short, a buyer would come along and buy it, right? So.
But typically, a short sale is nice for an investor because an investor is not going to move into that property. So for a typical investor, it doesn't matter if it took 60 days and then it took another 30 days and then another 30 days, because they're not thinking, but I need to get my kids in there before school starts.
Right.
I already sold my house. Where am I going to live?
Yeah.
It's so much more messy for an owner occupant that doesn't have the tolerance for that, really a waiting period that is undetermined until you're under contract.
Yeah, exactly. No,
so there are people that it makes sense for, but not your average, homeowner.
Yeah, not the majority of buyers that are in the market to buy, for sure.
Should we talk about another reason a short sale can be a little tricky for a buyer?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've got another one.
Let's do it.
A short sale is still owned by the seller, so there's going to be a seller disclosure. Okay, so you're going to know what the seller tells you about the property. But let's say you have had a struggle making your bills and your monthly payments for the last couple months. Do you think you kept up with your pest treatment and your gutter cleaning and you're keeping the trees trimmed back from the house?
Right.
And, when that leak happened under the bathroom sink in the kids' room, maybe you just put a bucket under it instead of calling a plumber. I mean, right? We have to make choices based on our financial reality.
Right.
And the people that own these houses have had to make those choices. So you're likely, as a buyer, going to walk into something that has not been meticulously cared for. Through no judgment on the seller, just reality.
Yep.
So if you come through, you have your home inspection and you have your list of things that legitimately may need to be taken care of. Does this seller have any money to do it? Because if they had the money, they would have paid their mortgage.
Right.
So you're kind of kind of like we talked about with mortgages, you're really walking into more of an as-is situation. So
like we talked about with foreclosures. Yeah, right.
Because these guys, like a regular seller, let's say the hot water heater is leaking, well, they know they're going to get a lot of money when their home sells. Even if they have to put it on a credit card, they know it's going to be paid off soon.
Right.
This seller probably already has their credit card maxed, and when the house sells, you know what they're going to get? Nothing.
Yeah.
They're going to have to pay to move all their stuff and put a deposit down on an apartment. They don't have the cash.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Little high horse there. Sorry.
No, you're right. I think these are you talk about nuances. These are the nuances that people just don't know if you haven't been in the game. And that's why it's so important to reach out to somebody.
It's a very different situation. And people sometimes think a short sale would mean it's a better deal.
Right.
But remember, the bank is ultimately approving the price.
Right.
The bank isn't going to give a deal. The bank wants market value.
Right. Right.
They got
to
their own people that look at houses in that neighborhood and what they're going to sell for. And even if the house is in fairly poor condition, they're not going to knock off dollar for dollar. They're going to want pretty much top dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. And if the market's a low inventory market, and there's very few and buyers are climbing over each other to try to get a house, then the bank doesn't have to drop price because. Yeah. So really good. Really good. I think in wrapping up the episode of short sales, if you're a homeowner thinking, what are my options? You should talk to Theresa. And if you're a buyer and you're wanting to know probably where are the deals, right? Because that's really the issue with buyers on short sales is where can I
find you buy deals? They just probably odds are won't be a foreclosure or a short sale.
Right. Exactly. Then in either case, then, I guess the most logical step, because you're so brilliant, would be to reach out to Theresa.
I hope so. I hope you will.
Yes. I hope you will too.
But I really do. I have a soft spot for homeowners in distress. I really feel like that's just part of service in this industry is that I want to help them. So I hope that does carry through. I hear that.
I hear that for sure. So, and I think the thing that, just because I know you so well, is that you are a safe place for people. It'd be easy to not want to share things about your life because of judgment or whatever. But I just know Theresa is somebody who is super safe with life circumstance, no judgment, et cetera. So you keep it real. You keep it real, Theresa.
I try.
Like that about you. All right. Well, another great episode of Let's Move Austin. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
It's always great to see your smiling face.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.